His humility made him approachable. His integrity earned him trust across divides. His commitment to peace created stability for progress, and his love of learning inspired others to pursue excellence. For most Ghanaians lawyers of my generations, we knew Mills more as a teacher. We are very glad that when Professor Mills returned to Ghana after Stanford Law School, he chose the path of academia and did not pursue more lucrative opportunities in private practice or international organizations. Mills' first formal teaching assignment was as a lecturer at the Faculty of Law at the University of Ghana, Legon, and he would spend the next 25 years in this role, rising to Associate Prof in 1992. But the real measure of Mills, the teacher, lies not in his academic achievements or the many papers that he authored, though they were considerable. But the real measure was the impact he had on the minds and hearts and lives of his students. Mills taught us that reputation built in silence lasts longer than applause. For Prof, the classroom was more than a venue for transmitting information. It was a sacred space where minds were opened, characters were formed, and futures were shaped. Students who attended his law classes remember a professor who demanded excellence, but provided the support necessary to achieve it. He had very high expectations, and his marks were usually very low. But he also had high investments in our success. Mills understood that teaching law was not just about imparting legal knowledge, it was about developing legal minds. He taught his students not just what to think, but how to think. He emphasized critical analysis, logical reasoning, and ethical reflection. He wanted his students to understand not just the letter of the law, but its spirit and its purpose. He saw law as a tool for addressing social justice or for enabling social justice and national development. He did not see legal education as merely professional training, but as preparation for service to society. Hence his earlier admonition about not being the cause of anyone losing their job. He also emphasized the importance of integrity in legal practice. He understood that as lawyers, we would face situations where we could choose between personal gain and professional ethics. Through his teaching and personal example, he sought to instill in his students the moral foundation necessary to make the choice. And this teaching went beyond the classroom to his approach to everything. Honorable Nana Oye and her friends were living on campus, and Mills was teaching at the law school. His lectures were at 7 a.m. in the morning because he had to lecture before going to the IRS. And he started giving a group of them lifts to Makola. So when there were 2, it was fine. But as word spread, they became 3, and then 4, and then 5. So now, Prof decided that when he gets there, he's not going to decide who gets into his car. The first ones to arrive get the lift. And that was Prof. Always fair, even in the little decisions. While he was an excellent classroom teacher, his greatest impact as an educator came through his mentorship relationships with individual students. Prof had an extraordinary ability to identify potential in young people and to nurture that potential through guidance, encouragement, and opportunity. As one of his students in both commercial law and company law, I experienced firsthand the transformative power of Prof's mentorship. Prof saw something in me that I had not yet seen in myself. He challenged me to think more deeply, to write more clearly, and to aspire more boldly. But more than that, Prof believed in me at a time when I was still learning to believe in myself. Mills was particularly committed to mentoring young women in law, recognizing the barriers we faced and the potential it represented. Lady Julia Osei and myself were two young women who probably would not have been able to obtain our Master of Laws degrees without the support of Prof. Mills. He was a constant referee on every young student applicant for graduate work. Through Prof's support, one of my classmates ended up at Prof's alma mater, the London School of Economics, for his LLM, and Prof helped him to get his first job at the Ghana Stock Exchange when he came back home. And for all the students, Prof did not have to know where we came from, who our parents were, he just helped. Prof was always accessible to his students. When I was at Queen's University in Canada, I worked in the library. And one time they were throwing away all the books where they had additional copies. So I asked them, what were they going to do with the books? They said they were going to be trashed. And I said, oh, could I have them for the law faculty? And they said, yes. So I ended up with 48 boxes of books in my apartment. Now, I didn't know how these books were going to get to Ghana. Every week, my landlord would come and look at the boxes and ask me when the boxes were moving. Eventually, I think Prof was at the IRS at the time. I managed to get a message to Prof that I was about to be kicked out of my apartment with 48 boxes of law books. Prof immediately called the High Commissioner. They sent a van and they picked these 48 boxes of books before my landlord kicked me and the books onto the streets of Kingston, Ontario. That was Prof, always accessible.